Be honest with yourself, brother. Have you ever looked at a woman you wanted more than anything? The kind of woman who makes your chest tighten and your thoughts spiral, and wondered, why doesn't she feel the same about me? You give her your best. You send the sweetest texts. You make yourself available. You do everything you can to show her you care. But instead of being drawn to you, she starts pulling away. She replies less. She cancels plans. She goes cold. Meanwhile, she's chasing another man. A man who barely even notices her. And you're left asking yourself, why him? Why not me? Let me hit you with the cold, unfiltered truth most men never hear. It's not because he's taller. It's not because he's richer. It's not because he's better looking. It's because he knows, whether consciously or by instinct, how to trigger her psychology. You see, attraction isn't about logic. It's not about who's the nicest guy. It's about emotions. It's about how her brain and body respond to you on a subconscious level. And here's what's really wild. In a Harvard study, 87% of women admitted that the men they obsessed over the most were not the ones who gave them the most attention, but the ones who triggered the strongest emotional responses in their minds. Read that again. It's not about attention. It's about emotion. That means if you learn how to spark the right emotions inside her, she won't just notice you. She won't just like you. She'll crave you. She'll think about you when she wakes up. She'll check her phone hoping to see your name. She'll smile at random times during the day, replaying something you said, and she won't even know why. That's the power of psychology. Brother, cold, hard science of the human brain. And today, I'm about to hand you 7 deadly psychological triggers that make women obsess over you. Not just feel attraction, but deep, lasting obsession. Chapter 1, the dopamine hook, addicted to you. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had someone pop into your mind out of nowhere? You're trying to focus on work, maybe scrolling through your phone, maybe sitting in class, and suddenly, boom, they appear in your thoughts. And no matter how much you try, you keep circling back to them. It's not always love. Sometimes it's just a little spark. But it feels addictive, doesn't it? That, my friend, is dopamine at work. See, dopamine is the brain's anticipation chemical. It's not just about pleasure, it's about the chase. It's that little hit of excitement you get when you don't know what's coming next. And when someone learns to trigger that in you, they can live rent-free in your mind. Let me paint a picture. Imagine a girl receives a text late at night. Not a boring, "Hey, what's up?" Not the usual small talk. Instead, the guy sends, "So lean in, stay locked in." Because once you understand these triggers, you won't just compete with other men anymore. You'll be the man she can't forget. You won't believe what almost happened to me today. Now pause. What do you think her brain does in that exact second? It lights up. It starts craving the answer. Curiosity plus anticipation. That's dopamine. And before she even knows it, she's leaning forward, heart racing a little, typing back, "What? Tell me." And here's where it gets interesting. He doesn't answer right away. He leaves her hanging. 10 minutes, 15, maybe an hour. She checks her phone, scrolls Instagram, comes back, checks again. Still no reply. By the time he finally sends the story, maybe something funny, maybe something unexpected, her brain has been firing with anticipation the whole time. That one conversation handled right leaves a bigger emotional footprint than 10 hours of dry texting. Crazy, right? But let's zoom in for a second. Think about your own life. Have you ever had someone do this to you? Someone who didn't even say that much, but somehow their words lingered in your head all day? The way they left a sentence unfinished, or hinted at something you had to know. That's the dopamine hook. And here's the secret most people miss. It's not about manipulation. It's about rhythm. The rhythm of tension and release. The rhythm of giving someone just enough to lean in closer. It's like your favorite TV show. Why do you binge it? Because every episode ends on a cliffhanger. Every time you think you've had enough, they dangle a new question in front of you. And suddenly it's 3 a.m. and you're 6 episodes deep. Relationships work the same way. If every interaction is predictable, the brain gets bored. But when there's just the right amount of surprise, unpredictability, and playful curiosity, the brain can't help but come back for more. So here's the question I want you to ask yourself. Are you the kind of person who texts in a way that feels like background noise? Or do you create moments that trigger that little spark of anticipation? Because once you understand how to use the dopamine hook, you don't chase attention. You become the attention. Chapter 2. The scarcity magnet, chasing what's rare. Think about this for a second. When was the last time you wanted something? Not because you needed it, but because it was hard to get. Maybe it was a pair of sneakers that sold out in minutes. Maybe it was concert tickets that disappeared online before you could even click buy. Or maybe, just maybe, it was a person. Someone who wasn't always available. Someone who had their own life going on. Someone who didn't drop everything just because you texted. Didn't that make you want them even more? That's the power of scarcity. See, human psychology is wired in a strange way. We don't always chase what's best for us. We chase what feels rare. Our brains automatically place higher value on things that aren't easily available. And in relationships, that same rule applies. Let me tell you a little story. A friend of mine, let's call him Ayan, was always the good guy, always available, always ready to text back instantly, cancel plans with his friends, and drop everything when a girl called. You'd think women would love that, right? But guess what? They didn't. He kept getting friend-zoned, over and over again. Then one day he shifted something. Instead of always being glued to his phone, he stopped replying right away. Not in a rude way, not with games, but simply because he was actually busy, working out, studying, hanging with friends, building his own life. And something crazy happened. The same girls who once ignored him, they started chasing him. Suddenly they were the ones double texting. Suddenly they were asking when he was free. Why? Because his attention became scarce. And let's be honest, don't we all do the same? Think about it. When someone is always available, always easy to get, don't you start taking them for granted after a while? But the moment their presence becomes limited, suddenly your mind is like, wait, what's going on? Why don't I have them the way I used to? It's simple psychology. Scarcity creates desire. Now here's the thing. Scarcity doesn't mean ignoring her. It doesn't mean being cold or distant. What it really means is having a life so full, so rich, that you naturally don't have the time to be available 24/7. Because here's the truth. If your entire world revolves around one person, they'll feel it, and it's not attractive. But if you've got your own goals, your own passions, your own social circle, suddenly your time becomes valuable. And when she gets a piece of it, it feels like a privilege. So let me ask you this. In your own relationships, have you ever noticed how someone treated you differently when you stopped being so available? How their energy shifted the moment you pulled back just a little? That's not an accident. That's scarcity at work. And if you master it, if you truly learn to protect your time and attention, she won't just want you. She'll start chasing you. Because people don't value what's common. They value what's rare. Chapter 3. The power of mystery. Make her curious, make her chase. Let me ask you something personal. When was the last time you met someone who felt like a puzzle? Someone you couldn't figure out right away? Someone who made you lean in, wanting to know more? Think about it. Didn't that person stay in your mind far longer than the ones who laid everything out on the table from day one? That's the power of mystery. See, human beings are naturally wired to chase the unknown. Curiosity isn't just a nice feeling. It's a force that pulls us in, makes us want answers, keeps us awake at night wondering, who are they really? And when it comes to attraction, mystery is magnetic. Let me tell you a story. A guy I know, let's call him Samir, wasn't the loudest or flashiest in the room. He didn't try too hard to impress anyone, but every time he spoke, he shared just enough, and then stopped. He'd mentioned that he once lived in another country but wouldn't say where. He'd casually drop that he quit a job most people dream about, but never explain why. And you could see it. The girls around him leaning in, their eyes narrowing, smiling as they tried to connect the dots. Samir didn't play games. He was simply selective about what he shared and when. The result? People chased him for answers. His presence lingered even when he left the room. Now compare that with the guy who overshares everything in the first 10 minutes. His life story, his struggles, his family drama, his ex-girlfriends, it's all on the table immediately. Sure, it feels open, but here's the problem. There's no curiosity left. No tension. No reason to stick around and discover him. And I want you to reflect on this in your own life. Have you ever lost interest in someone because they revealed everything too quickly? Or maybe on the flip side, have you ever been hooked by someone who gave you just a glimpse, just enough to keep your imagination running? That's the sweet spot of mystery. It doesn't mean being fake or secretive. It doesn't mean hiding who you are. What it really means is pacing. allowing your story to unfold like chapters in a book instead of dumping the whole novel on the table at once. Think about your favorite movies or shows. Why do you keep watching? Because they don't tell you everything in the first scene. They drop hints. They create suspense. They make you feel like you have to know what happens next. Relationships work the same way. If you reveal yourself slowly through little stories, through layers of personality, through experiences she shares with you, she'll start chasing the next piece of the puzzle, and in her mind you become endlessly interesting. So here's the question you should ask yourself. Are you giving everything away too fast? Or are you creating curiosity that makes her want to lean in closer? Because mystery isn't about hiding who you are. It's about making discovery an adventure. And once she feels that, she won't just want to know you. She'll want to chase you. Chapter 4. The Dominant Switch. Lead without asking. Let's be real for a second. Have you ever been on a date or even just making plans and the other person kept saying, "I don't know, whatever you want is fine"? At first it might seem polite, but after a while it gets frustrating, doesn't it? Deep down you start thinking, just decide. I don't want to do all the work here. That's exactly how most women feel when a man refuses to lead. See, there's a huge difference between being nice and being uncertain. Too many guys confuse the two. They think they're being respectful by letting her decide everything, but what she actually feels is burdened, like she has to carry the whole interaction on her shoulders. Now picture this. Two different guys ask a girl out. The first one says, "So, where do you want to go? What do you feel like eating? I'm cool with anything." Not terrible, but not memorable either. The second one says, "Be ready at 7, I've got a spot you'll love, trust me." Which one do you think sparks more excitement in her mind? It's the second one, every time. And here's why. Leadership equals security. When a man takes initiative calmly, confidently, and respectfully, he signals that he knows what he's doing. He's not waiting for permission to create experiences. He creates them. And that psychologically makes a woman feel like she can relax around him. Let me share a story. One of my friends, Danielle, was always the go-with-the-flow guy. Sweet, kind, thoughtful, but indecisive. Every date, every outing, he'd throw the responsibility back on the girl. And he kept hearing the same line. "You're such a nice guy, but you already know what comes after, bud." Then one day he decided to flip the switch. Instead of asking where she wanted to go, he said, "Saturday evening, I'm taking you to this rooftop cafe. Wear something you'll feel amazing in." And the girl's reaction? She laughed, teased him a little. But she showed up. And that night went better than any of his previous polite, "What do you want to do?" dates. Here's the secret. Women don't want to be controlled. But they love when a man can take the wheel with confidence. It's the same reason why a dance looks awkward. If both people are trying to lead, or if neither does. But when one person takes the lead, the other can relax into the rhythm. That's when connection happens. So ask yourself, in your own life, are you stepping into the role of leader? Or are you always waiting for her to decide? Because real dominance isn't about shouting, bragging, or forcing. It's about certainty. It's about saying, "I've got this. You can trust me." And when you do that, she doesn't just follow you. She respects you. She feels safe with you. She wants to be part of your world. That's the dominant switch. Lead without asking, and watch how everything changes. Chapter 5. The Scarcity Effect. Make her feel you're in demand. Let me ask you something real quick. Have you ever noticed how much more we want something when we can't have it easily? Think about it. When concert tickets are unlimited, nobody rushes to buy them. But when you see only 2 left, suddenly your heart starts racing. You're clicking that buy now button like your life depends on it. That's scarcity at work. And it's one of the most powerful psychological forces in human behavior. Now here's where most guys trip up. They think the way to win a woman's heart is by giving her unlimited access to their time, attention, and energy. They text all day. They cancel plans the moment she calls. They act like she's their entire schedule. But here's the problem. When something feels too easy to get, the brain automatically devalues it. It's not intentional, it's just human nature. Let me share a story. There's this guy I knew in college, let's call him Hamza. He met this amazing girl at a wedding. She was gorgeous, confident, and they had instant chemistry. He thought, this is it. I need to show her how serious I am. So he started texting her every morning. "Good morning, beautiful." He'd reply within seconds whenever she messaged. He even skipped hanging out with his friends just in case she wanted to make plans. And for a little while, she enjoyed the attention. But slowly, the excitement faded. She started taking longer to reply. She became busy, and eventually she just drifted away. Hamza was crushed. He couldn't understand what went wrong. But here's the truth he didn't see. He made himself too available. His time felt cheap. There was no mystery, no challenge, no reason for her to chase. Now fast forward 6 months. Hamza focused on himself, his career, fitness, and passion projects. He stopped centering his life around women, and one night he ran into that same girl again. This time he was different. His energy said, "I'm busy. I'm building something. If you want a place in my life, it has to be earned." And you know what happened? She leaned in. She wanted his attention again.
Why? Because suddenly,
He felt scarce. And scarce equals valuable. Here's what I want you to take away, brother. Don't make yourself too easy to reach. Don't give away your time like it's free candy. Live a life so full, so driven that your attention becomes a reward, not a default. Because when a woman realizes that not everyone gets unlimited access to you, she sees you differently. You're not just another guy waiting around. You're a man in demand. And trust me, when she feels your time is rare, she'll want it more than ever. That's the scarcity effect. Simple, powerful, and game-changing. Chapter 6. The emotional roller coaster. Tap into her feelings. Let me ask you something honest, brother. Do you remember the first time you fell for someone, not just liked them, but really fell? Think back for a second. It wasn't because they had the perfect smile, or the nicest car, or even the smoothest words. It was because of the way they made you feel. Maybe they made you laugh so hard you forgot your problems. Maybe they opened up about something vulnerable and it touched you deeply. Maybe just one small moment, a look, a laugh, a shared secret burned into your memory like fire. Let me share a story. One of my friends, Saad, used to think attraction was about consistency. Same good morning texts every day, same routine compliments, same predictable dates. Safe, steady, and boring. Then he met a girl named Zara. Instead of doing the usual dinner and a movie, he tried something different. On their second date, he took her to a rooftop with a stunning view of the city. Out of nowhere, he pulled out a cheap little Polaroid camera and said, "Let's capture this moment. 10 years from now, we'll look back and laugh at how nervous we were tonight." She laughed so hard she almost dropped the camera. And that one playful, unexpected move made the night unforgettable. Later, he opened up about his childhood, how he used to watch the stars with his dad whenever he was afraid of the dark. Vulnerable, honest, raw. Zara's eyes softened. She leaned in closer. See what he did there? He mixed emotions. Surprise, playfulness, vulnerability, warmth. That's the formula, brother. Because here's the truth. A woman will forget the 200 good morning texts, but she'll never forget the one night you made her laugh until her stomach hurt, and then opened up in a way that made her heart ache in the best way. The human brain is wired to remember peaks of emotion, not the bland in between. That's why we still remember our first heartbreak, our first kiss, or that one magical night that felt like it belonged in a movie. So if you want her to think about you long after you're gone, don't aim for being consistent. Aim for being memorable. Make her laugh one moment. Surprise her the next, then show her a glimpse of your vulnerable side. Take her on that emotional ride, and her brain will automatically start linking you to excitement, joy, and depth. And when that happens, you're not just a guy she likes. You become the man she can't stop thinking about. That's the power of the emotional roller coaster. Chapter 7. The imprint effect. Become unforgettable. Let me ask you something, brother. Why is it that some people come into your life, and even years later you can't forget them? It's not always the one who looked the best. It's not even the one who stayed the longest. It's the one who gave you a moment, a memory so powerful that it carved itself into your heart. That's the imprint effect. And if you learn how to create it, you don't just become another guy she dated, you become the one she measures all others against. Now let me tell you a story. There was this guy, Bilal. He wasn't the richest. He wasn't the smoothest talker, but he had one gift. He knew how to make ordinary moments feel extraordinary. One evening, instead of taking a girl out to the usual dinner spot, he brought her to a quiet little secondhand bookstore. Dusty shelves, the smell of old paper, soft jazz playing faintly in the background. He walked her over to the poetry section, pulled out a random book and said, "Let's each find one poem and read it to each other. No judgment, just whatever jumps out." She laughed at first, but she played along. And the next hour? Magic. They read, they teased, they got vulnerable. She later told him she'd never had a date like that in her life. Do you see what Bilal did? He created a memory that couldn't be copied. Here's the psychology behind it. Our brains remember peak, emotional experiences far longer than ordinary ones. You don't remember every breakfast you've had in your life, but you remember the morning you got that life-changing phone call, right? You remember your first heartbreak, your first kiss. Those high-emotion moments get stamped into memory. That's the key. If you want a woman to never forget you, don't try to impress her with things every guy does. Fancy restaurants, flowers, predictable routines. Instead, give her something unique. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't even have to be grand. What matters is that it feels different, that it creates an emotional imprint. Here are a few ideas. Share a personal story you've never told anyone else. Create a small ritual between you, like always making a wish before taking the first bite of dessert. Take her somewhere unexpected, not for money or status, but because it has a story behind it. Encourage her to share something secret or vulnerable, and hold that space with respect. These aren't just moves, they're experiences. And experiences create bonds stronger than any pickup line ever could. So here's the question. When she thinks of you, will you be just another memory? Or the memory she can't shake? Because the imprint effect isn't about forcing her to stay. It's about making her want to stay, even if you're not around. That's how you become unforgettable. Conclusion. So let's bring it all together. Attraction isn't built in her heart. It's built in her mind. When you master these 7 psychological triggers, 1. The dopamine hook, make her crave you. 2. The scarcity magnet, make her chase rarity. The mystery effect, make her curious. The dominant switch, lead with certainty. So the scarcity effect, let her feel you're in demand. 6. The emotional roller coaster, make her feel alive. 7. The imprint effect, give her memories she can't forget. You stop chasing. You start choosing. Because here's the final truth. Women don't obsess over men who try to look high value. They obsess over men who are high value. So stop begging for attention. Stop competing with every guy. Stop proving yourself. Instead, build yourself. Live with purpose. Lead with confidence. Create experiences no other man can give her. Do that, and you won't just attract her. You'll become unforgettable.